Welcome back, viewers at home. Now, to learn the meditative art of handmade paper using both recycled and plant-based materials, join the workshop that is led by multidisciplinary artists Abigale and Azeezah. And this session is about more than technique. It's about process, presence, and personal ritual. And by you just joining into this workshop in question, you walk away having learned to make pulp from recycled paper, craft paper from natural plant-based fibers, embed organic elements into your paper, use handmade paper for letters, art, journaling, or gifts. And the only thing you need to bring, other than your beautiful self, is definitely bring flowers, petals, leaves, or any soft natural materials that hold meaning for you, and these will be embedded in your artwork at that. But for more, I am joined by Azeezah as well as Abigale. Assalamu alaikum, Abigale and Azeezah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Salam. Thank you for having us.
Now, just to get our conversation started and just understanding the event itself and for what viewers can look forward to, can you tell me a bit on what really attracted you to the art of handmade paper in the beginning?
So when I was in university, I was really interested in printmaking, and I found it really important to make everything from scratch. So having that be the paper to the printing, having the entire artwork being made by yourself, I found that really important in my personal art practice.
And for you, Azeezah?
For me, I think it was more so what drew me to papermaking was part of my practice. I tried to be very sustainable. I would try and reuse materials as much as I could. So if I had scrap paper or any leftover ink or paint, I would always try and use those materials fully and completely before repurchasing. So I felt like it was a way to sort of give life also to works that I may not have used. So I would tear up parts of my sketchbook or maybe drawings that I didn't like, and I would make paper out of them, and it could have a whole new life by having space to make a whole new artwork on it.
Amazing.
So I feel like it's a really nice skill to have, yeah.
Amazing, truly amazing. And with that being said, what resources or experience helped you deepen your understanding of a handmade paper? And I'm asking to the both of you.
For me, I feel like it kind of gives the artwork that you're making so much more heart by making this paper with your own hands. It's like you involved with the process from the beginning till the end, and someone gets to view that artwork that you've made. It's just like a little portion of yourself, a little gift to yourself, from yourself to the person that's looking at the work or that's purchasing the work. I like that sentiment. That's something that you've crafted with your hands and you've made through the entire process you were involved.
And I think from my point of view, the reason that we opened the gallery was to give artists of all, so emerging artists or up-and-coming artists, the tools to create artwork without having that sort of struggle. So educating them on how they can create paper from home, especially with people who have limited resources and can't necessarily go to the store and buy paper. They can use the things that they have at home, whether it's the toilet paper rolls or old newspapers. It really helps bridge that gap where other people might not have necessarily all of the resources to create artworks. And when you can create your own paper at home and you see how easy it is, it really does help bridge that gap.
Now, speaking about the event that's taking place this coming Sunday, which will be from 1 until 3 o'clock, what kind of environment do you hope to cultivate in your classes?
It will be Saturday, hey? Yeah. The papermaking workshop is on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I would like to, everyone that joins the class, to take away from it, apart from the skills of having learned how to make paper themselves and making it easy for them to make it at home. So you don't really require too many ingredients to make the paper. It's all things you already have. Even the machinery that we use, it might be things that you have at home. You can use a blender, you can mash paper with your hands. But ultimately, I would like people to, it's a reminder to take things slow. and think about where the things that you use in your daily life, something as simple as a sheet of paper, how much work goes into making that? And very simple things that we use in our daily lives, we don't really give a second thought to. So I feel like it's a nice moment of reflection to think about how much care and how much thought goes behind such a simple thing, making paper.
And if you're able to, can you just help us describe the technique of you really integrating, organic matter into the paper pulp, and what is this experience like?
So just the process from beginning would be to sort of collect paper scraps that you wouldn't use at home or things that you're not really using anymore. Like I mentioned, old newspapers and just different things that you can find around the house. So the process within that is cutting it up into strips, and then we cut it up a little bit smaller. And just to break down the material a bit better, you can always put it in boiling hot water, and then blend it, or like if you put it in the hot water, it usually does break down by itself. So you could let it sit overnight. It has already, and then put on. And I think it's really hard to explain, but once you have that workshop, which is what we're providing, when you come through, you see the full process from beginning to end, and you learn how you can do it at home as well, and how you can teach other people to do it as well.
And with that being
I really like the exploration of the organic material. For Abby and I think when we've done it before, we would sort of collect these small little blossoms that we would pick up on our walks. We like to take hikes sometimes, and we just thought it would be really nice to integrate these small little things that we've picked up or things we've collected, and you get to put it on the sheet of paper, and it becomes like a little artwork of its own, like a little journal that you create of these walks that we've had. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that, when you are making this handmade paper, you can't embed things like rocks or stones, because some people are fascinated with collecting these. And with that, can you give suggestions with regards to turning handmade paper into unique art or design pieces for someone who probably started the journey by looking at a few TikTok videos or YouTube videos, but they really haven't really gotten that technique, if I can say so, in mastering that handmade paper?
So for the handmade paper, what we've done for past classes we've had, we have different iterations of the class. So for this one that involves organic matter in particular, we can turn them into notebooks that you can use. So you can journal in them, you can write in them, or you could paint on them, you could make drawings. So you could use them as you would regular paper. It's very easy. You can fold them over and you can use a stapler to bind the book, or you can watch short videos if you already are watching videos or that sort of content of how to make the paper. It's very easy. You can use a simple stitch to bind the book at the end, and then you have your own little journal or sketchbook that you've made on your own.
Yeah, and there's also a medium called pulp painting. So you can dye your pulp into all the different shades of colors you want, and then when pulling your paper, you can place them in all different places. So when you take it out, it's an abstract piece of art as well.
Wow, this is quite nice. And have you experimented with any unusual or surprising materials in your paper creations?
Yes, we're currently experimenting with sorghum, and our last workshop we did banana leaf paper. So that will be incorporated in tomorrow's class. So we'll have recycled and banana leaf. And it can go as far as using multiple plant-based materials like sea salt or cloth. The opportunities really are endless.
And I think also just looking at the fact that, climate change is a reality, and I think we're all trying to play our part in not really contributing to the issues that are really speaking ill of, the current climate in that sense. Can you just give insight to myself and the viewers at home in terms of how do you view the relationship between eco-friendly practices and the art of handmade paper?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I try to integrate sustainability in my practice at the very beginning. But even for emerging artists or hobbyists that are just starting out, and you don't really want to spend too much money on materials, I think it's a really good solution. Like Abby mentioned, there's so many possibilities and so many different materials you could use to make paper. It could range from any organic fiber. You could use cotton, which is a bit more labor intensive, but you could use newspaper as well, which we've done in the past. And it gives life to these objects that you would most likely throw away. And thinking about how we consume different things, simple things like paper that we throw away or discard really without having a second thought. When you're involved in the process of printmaking, I think it definitely gives you an opportunity to think about how much work goes into that and how it impacts the environment from that point going forward. So paper is biodegradable to a large extent, but because of the way paper is manufactured on a large scale and the chemicals that are added to it, it is not the greatest for the environment. Also, the amount of labor, water, and trees that go into the process of making paper that is sold on such a large scale, it is quite detrimental to the environment. So I think integrating these small sustainable practices is just your part of being conscious about the situation that we're currently facing with climate change and all of that, and just trying to do your part in utilizing and getting the most of the resources that are already available to you and giving it a second life.
Yes, and I think we would also encourage so many artists to try out handmade paper, try making your paper at home, because something that you might not know, and maybe this is something that a lot of galleries keep a secret, is handmade paper or artworks on handmade paper is actually more valuable than store-bought. So if you value handmade paper over, let's say, for example, Fabriano, handmade paper still values higher. So I mean, it benefits the artist at the end of the day as well.
Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me tonight and really sharing much information, much needed information, basically, on the event itself and really what drives it in that sense, in terms of being eco-friendly, and the idea of allowing individuals to, as to use your words, but not verbatim, but to just repurpose paper and to just give it a more meaning than rather than discarding it in that sense. But thank you, and Jazakallah so much for joining us tonight.
Jazakallah so much for having us. Have a good evening further.
Same to you, viewers at home. That was Azeezah and Abigale sharing in on what to expect and what you will be learning with regards to the workshop that they'll be having this weekend. And I believe it is not Sunday, but actually Saturday from 1 o'clock until 3, and it will be taking place at AA Gallerie, 27 Boxes, Melville, and it's costing 200 rand. So make sure you get yourself a nice outing with a friend, with a sister, with a cousin, and enjoy yourself. But on that note, we're going to head over to a net break. We'll see you just after this.
Bye.